All right, guys, here is the answer key to the unit review. We'll go through each of these questions one by one. First question says figures PQRS, and TUWV, PQSR and TUWV are scale copies of each other. Select all of the statements that must be true. So first one says angle PQS is the same as angle TVW. Well, we need to remember what we talked about, and that was that with angles, corresponding angles are the same. So if I find angle PQS, that's here, and angle TVU, oh, wait a minute, those are not corresponding angles, so they are not necessarily going to be the same thing. So that is not a true statement. It says the scale factor from TUVW to PQSR is less than 1. Well, the order is important here. TUVW is the bigger one. It's going down to the smaller one. And to get a bigger figure down to the smaller figure, the scale factor should be less than 1. So number 2, yes, is correct, is true. Number 3 says segment PR corresponds to segment TV. Well, let's see, PR is here, and TV is here. So yes, that is a true statement. It says each quadrilateral has 2 acute angles and 2 obtuse angles. And we remember we've talked about those terms. Acute small angles less than 90 degrees. 90 degrees is like the edge of a page, and an obtuse angle is bigger than 90 degrees. So 2 acute angles, 2 acute angles, and 2 obtuse angles. Yes, that's true. The next one talks about segment RS being 2.5. Well, let's see. RS is here, and we don't really have much information about it, so I need to take pieces of information from the rest of the paper, or from the rest of the figure. Here's what we know, if I erase all that other stuff. So let's see, RS is 2.5. I'm going to look at the other pieces of information here. Here's what I know about this. PQ is 1 and TS is 2. That tells me that the scale factor going from the smaller figure to the larger figure is times 2. So times 2 this way, which means that to go from the larger figure to the smaller figure, I should divide by 2 or multiply by 1/2. So the figure that, or the piece that corresponds to RS would be VW. And if I divide by 2, divide 5 by 2, I do get 2.5. So yes, statement 5 is also true. Now, number 6 says angle VWU is 122 degrees. Well, let's see. We know that angle RPQ is 122 degrees, and angle VWU, well, that's not the corresponding angle, so no, we do not know that that one is 122 degrees. If we had asked about this angle, then yes, we would have said that's also the same. Remember that angles don't scale, angles stay the same size from one scale copy to another. So that's question A. To answer question B, it says triangle OCT is shown below. Select all of the measurements that could be the sides of the scale copy of OCT. So I'm going to make myself a little T-chart here. We have 3 sides that we need to look at. We have one side that's 8, one side that's 15, and one side that's 17. So if I start to look at these different options, for A, can I go from 8, 15, 17 to 80, 150, 170? And I think to myself, well, let's see, 80 divided by 10, 150 divided by 10, 170 divided by 10. Yes, they all use the same scale factor, so A, yes, would be a scale copy. How about 4, 7.5, and 9.5? Well, what I need to know is that those are all related in the same way. Well, if I take 8 and go to 4, I'm dividing by 2, right? We know that much. Is the same thing true to get from 15 to 7.5 and from 17 to 9.5? Well, 15 divided by 2 is 7.5, but 17 divided by 2 is not 9.5. It's actually 8.5, so B would not be an option. How about 16, 30, 34? Well, now to go from 8 to 16, I'm multiplying by 2. From 15 to 30, I'm also multiplying by 2. And from 17 to 34, I'm also multiplying by 2. So C, in all of those cases, the sides have scaled up. All right, we'll take this next one, the 8/3, 5, and 17/3. How do I go from 8 to 8/3? Well, actually, all I have to do to go from 8 to 8/3 is to divide by 3, right? 8 divided by 3 would be 8/3. And now if I look over here, 17 divided by 3 is 17/3. Okay, is the same thing true of that 15? 15 divided by 3, yeah, that's 5. So that makes this also a possible scale factor. I'm going to erase some of these numbers here. And now let's try this 20 and 37.5 and 42.5. Well, let's see. I can't guess what the scale factor is from here to here. But what I could do is I can divide those two things out and figure out what the scale factor is. I can do 20 divided by 8 to figure out how I would go, what I would multiply by. So if I do 20 divided by 8 on my calculator, I got 2.5. So let me check to see if I get the same thing if I multiply 15 by 2.5. I did get 37.5. And if I multiply 17 times 2.5, I do get 42.5. So we can find that scale factor by dividing if we can't recognize it in our heads. And then the next one is 3, 10, and 12. 3, 10, and 12. Well, let's see. If I do, I think there's a big no on this one, right? Looks like I'm subtracting 5 and subtracting 5 and subtracting 5, but we can't find that scale copy through addition or subtraction, right? It has to be multiplication or division. So that one is a no. So there's question B.